Hi Aries, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm doing your love reading for the week ahead and I've already pulled the oracle cards, so we'll get straight into it. First one you got is Loyal Heart in the reversed. So this is about maybe some sort of loyalty that's being tested or even just questioned right now. So maybe it could be, someone struggling to fully commit or trust. It could be that there's a feeling of being, emotionally disconnected, even though that there's love there. It could be your doubts or insecurities or just a fear of betrayal that's maybe creating a distance between you guys. It could even just be that maybe one or both of you is questioning whether the relationship is actually like the feelings are reciprocated. It can also point to maybe there's some sort of old wounds in general that just making it difficult for you to trust new love or attracting people who aren't really emotionally available if you're single, Then we have the South Node and it says, don't let your past hold you back. And this is basically confirming why the Loyal Heart here is reversed. I feel like the past is kind of influencing your present moment. So maybe you're holding on to an ex or maybe some sort of old feelings or unresolved feelings. It could also just be that maybe you are like repeating unhealthy relationship patterns, or again just a fear of being hurt, and you're kind of putting up walls because you're scared to be hurt. Or maybe just you're kind of carrying guilt or regret or just disappointment, into a new connection. So it's just also, making sure to kind of let go of anything that's holding you back. And then we have the Peacock Spirit and it says, let it shine. And this is a really good kind of message, it's about you knowing your worth, and don't shrink yourself just to kind of earn someone's love. Just be yourself and be authentic, and don't try, please other people or please this person. If there's other people in your relationship that you don't want them knowing what's going on in your relationship, like, who cares? It's like that type of energy, and just have the confidence that, the right person will actually appreciate you exactly as you are. Just, I feel like if you release the past, and kind of work on any sort of insecurities that you have, or people from the past as well, or a lack of trust or something like that, then you can really attract these healthier relationships, and that's that Peacock Spirit. So let's get some tarot for you, Aries. I'm going to pull all the cards, including the clarifiers, so if you want to skip ahead you absolutely can. So I want to see, what are Aries' feelings for their person? Okay, we have the Five of Wands. What is Aries' person's feelings for Aries? We have the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, how do they view Aries? We have the Queen of Cups. Okay. Let's see how. Okay. Actually, let's see what's the blockage. There we go. Judgment in reverse. Okay. Then what are your person's feelings for Aries? We have the Magician, or the intentions. Okay, and then what are the next actions towards Aries? We have the Star. Okay, and then what is the outcome? Perfect, the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. And what is your advice? Okay, we have the Moon. Okay, let's get some clarifiers for Aries. So what is the Five of Wands? That came out quickly. The Eight of Swords. What is the Ace of Pentacles? We have the Seven of Wands in the reverse. What's the Queen of Cups? The Five of Swords in the reverse. What is Judgment? We have the Emperor in the reverse. Okay, what is the Magician? We have the Knight of Pentacles. What is the Star? We have the High Priestess. What is the Seven of Pentacles? We have the Queen of Pentacles. And let's get, what is the Moon? We have the Three of Wands. I have here the Five of Wands and the Eight of Swords. So I feel like your feelings right now are maybe a little bit conflicted. You know, the Five of Wands could mean inner conflict, or it could be disagreements, or possibly competition, or just tension surrounding the connection at this moment. And you could just feel like maybe you're kind of constantly battling things, or there's mixed emotions, or maybe even just other people that's influencing the relationship, which I did kind of get that with that Peacock Spirit. I felt like you wanted other people to mind their business, and I'm kind of, the Peacock Spirit is like, who cares what they think or what they know, you know? And the Eight of Swords is showing me that you're feeling some sort of like a feeling of being trapped or stuck, and you could just be overthinking the situation, or, you know, feeling very powerless, or just believing that there's obstacles that kind of prevent things from moving forward. And like, I know that you care deeply, but there's still like fear and uncertainty, and it's making it difficult for you to see like clearly what the next stage is, or the next step. Then we have your person's feelings as the Ace of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands in the reverse. So your person like genuinely sees potential with you, you know. The Ace of Pentacles is really good for like new beginnings and stability and just wanting something real. And the Seven of Wands in the reverse just shows that, you know, maybe they're starting to lower their guard. Maybe it's them who has their guard up and has stuff to let go of. Maybe it's both of you. Maybe it's just you, you know. But they're kind of tired of like resisting their feelings, and they're letting go of their defensiveness and just kind of like becoming more open to like allowing this connection to grow. So, you know, maybe they were protecting themselves like in the past. They're just now kind of giving it a genuine chance. Then we have the Queen of Cups and the Five of Swords in the reverse, and this is kind of like how they view you this week, or how they view the connection in general. And basically they see you as someone who's very emotionally mature with the Queen of Cups, very compassionate and caring, you know, very intuitive. So the Queen of Cups is about like, you know, that they recognize that like you bring emotional depth to the connection, you know. But with the Five of Swords in the reverse, it also shows that they think that you're hoping to move away from some sort of conflict or misunderstandings or past disagreements, and they kind of seem to also want peace, you know, and they don't want to like try and win arguments. They maybe, you know, viewing you in a light where they're looking for some sort of emotional healing or reconciliation or something like that, right? Then we have Judgment in the reverse, clarified by the Emperor in the reverse, and this is the blockage, right? Judgment reversed is about either some sort of unfinished business, or maybe avoiding important decisions, or just ignoring lessons from the past, you know. There's that South Node, and making like the wrong choice, like a fear of that, you know. Whereas the Emperor in reverse as well is like, you know, issues involving control or stubbornness, or someone's pride getting in the way, someone just kind of like struggling to step up in a mature way, you know, with the relationship. So I feel like these cards together is kind of, you know, someone isn't actually taking accountability, or they're resisting the changes that's needed for this relationship to actually evolve. Then we have the Magician, clarified by the Knight of Pentacles, and the Magician is, you know, that they want to create something, and they want to like manifest progress, and you know, they want to communicate with you effectively, or they could want to just, you know, improve the connection. And the Knight of Pentacles, you know, it adds the stability and the consistency. So there's no rushing here. They're kind of just intending to build something carefully and looking at the situation realistically. It could be that, you know, that they are thinking about the long term and just want steady, dependable type of progress and not impulsive action. Then we have the Star, and clarifying that is the High Priestess. So this is their next actions, right? So I feel like their next actions, it's not going to be like something loud or like dramatic or anything. Like they just, you know, wanting to kind of show that they have, you know, that they want to heal this connection. They still have hope for the two of you together, you know. There could be even just a renewed optimism or just restoring faith in the connection. And the High Priestess is just showing that they'll move like carefully, you know, listening to their intuition. And there might be a period of like, you know, quiet observation or just subtle communication rather than like immediate declarations, you know, nothing dramatic. So I feel like their actions are going to be very like thoughtful and like guided by some sort of inner wisdom, and not just based on emotions. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse and the Queen of Pentacles as your outcome. So I feel like the Seven of Pentacles reversed is kind of like there's some sort of frustration with like delays, or feeling that like the progress hasn't happened quickly enough. So I feel like someone could be questioning if the effort is like worthwhile. But the Queen of Pentacles is like a very grounding type of energy, you know, like she indicates like stability and security and nurturing and building something lasting. So it kind of seems that even though there is some sort of impatience, that the outcome moves towards a more stable and like supportive connection, and you know, both people will continue investing in this if they choose it. And then your advice here is the Moon and the Three of Wands. So basically, this is kind of, again, just telling you, like, don't let fear kind of make your decisions for you, or any type of uncertainty. You know, the Moon is about that, you know, not everything is as it appears right now, and like, you know, things are kind of hidden underneath the surface. So it could be like hidden emotions, or just unanswered questions, or maybe just even assumptions that are going on in your own mind or their own mind, you know. But because it's your advice, I feel like it could be you. And the Three of Wands is about looking like beyond the current situation, and keeping faith that like the future is going to bring something that you want. So maybe the advice here is just to trust that, you know, the opportunities are coming in, and that there are going to be clearer answers. And just don't react to any sort of confusion. Like first kind of just take a breath, and then, you know that this isn't going to be the situation for long, and trust your intuition, and, you know, don't jump to conclusions, and just keep looking ahead. And I feel like that's some very good advice for you, especially if you are struggling with some sort of pain from the past that you're trying to let go of, or like trust issues or something like that. Okay, so next I'm going to get you some little oracle cards. Again, I'm just going to pull all the oracle cards in one shot, and I'll explain it afterwards. Just skip ahead if you want to. Okay, so let's see. What are Aries feelings for their person? We have shallow, hollow, empty, and boredom. Bottom of the deck, we have nourish, self-growth, self-focused, and soul-finding. Okay, and then what are the person's feelings? Okay, we got curse, hex, witchcraft, and negative mind. And then bottom of the deck, we got open heart, receptive, empathy, and vulnerable. Okay, let's get you some romance angels. This is for Aries. Okay. So we have romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. We have past life relationship. It says you have known each other before. And let's get one more. Oh, it fell down. We have playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. And then bottom of the deck, you deserve love. You are lovable. And then let's get some messages from your person. Okay, what would Aries person say to Aries? Okay, it's time for me to heal now. So maybe it is them healing. What else? We have, you and I were too young. Okay. We have, I wish I could take back my words. And then bottom of the deck, we have, my life is not as together as it seems. Okay. Okay, so, you know, this may or may not resonate. Just take what does and leave what doesn't. But I feel like with your feelings, you know, you might be feeling like emotionally drained or kind of questioning whether this connection is fulfilling you anymore. You know, maybe there's moments where you feel like something's missing, or that like there's, you know, there's no kind of emotional depth between the two of you, or maybe just something's not being reciprocated in some way. You know, maybe for some of you that this card can just represent like some sort of emotional numbness after like a difficult period between you two. You know, maybe you do still care about them, but you know, you've become some sort of like a bit emotionally detached, I guess, just as a form of kind of self-protection, you know. And then with Nourish, it just shows that you could be entering into, you know, a phase of self-growth, and maybe it's time that some of the love that you put into other people, that you actually put back into yourself as well. And, you know, the more you heal and focus on your own happiness, maybe the more clarity you'll get about the connection in general. Then with their feelings towards you, it's curse and an open heart. So I feel like, you know, obviously I don't think they put an actual curse on you, but it could be like maybe they're kind of trapped by some sort of negative thinking, or maybe just emotional baggage, guilt, or maybe fear, or just, I don't know, circumstances that they feel like they can't escape. Maybe like a type of Eight of Swords energy, you know. And it could just be that, you know, that they feel like everything keeps going wrong between you guys, and you know, they're believing that maybe the relationship is cursed, or it's, you know, destined to fail with all the obstacles that are happening in the moment. But at the same time, with open heart being at the bottom of the deck, it kind of also shows that, like, even with those fears and those negative thoughts and that type of thing, is someone who's still kind of open, and they still have feelings, you know, and that they want to be vulnerable, but maybe they're struggling to kind of move beyond their own kind of emotional blocks, you know. So then we have romantic feelings, and this is basically, you know, obviously if you're single and if you're in a relationship and if you're separated from the person, it will have different meanings. But, you know, I feel like your feelings are valid. So it kind of, you know, kind of says that if you're going to go for, let's say if you're single, right? So you're going to go for someone new, or like someone that you want to reconnect with. It's kind of a reminder that you also just need to know your worth, and, you know, just continue kind of building your confidence and becoming more aligned with the relationship that values you, and that, you know, that you guys can share your feelings together. And, you know, this past life relationship, you know, so this is usually about a connection that feels like very familiar or difficult to forget, maybe, or you know, maybe there's a belief that you guys met each other in past lives, and that there is like a deep soul connection and a contract before you came into this world. So it could be like that there's a, you know, a bond that's very strong between the two of you. Or maybe there's just some sort of unfinished business emotionally that you guys need to tend to. You know, it's obviously different for each person, and what type of relationship you're in. Then we have playfulness as well. So playfulness is, you know, about, you know, being more lighthearted and just enjoying the connection again. You know, maybe there's too many responsibilities and stress and past disagreements or whatever that could have overshadowed the two of you or the connection at the moment. So just try and make time to kind of like, I don't know, laugh together, flirt, you know, just enjoy each other's company, and it might help strengthen your bond. And then obviously at the bottom of the deck is that you do deserve love and you are lovable. So let go of these fears, let go of these insecurities. If you've got a belief that someone's going to cheat on you, like, no, they're not. They're literally, you know, the right person would never do something like that. And you need to kind of recognize that as well, that you have you also have the power to manifest things in your life. And if you're constantly worrying about something like that, it might actually happen. Whereas if you're like, actually, who would ever cheat on me? You know, like, why would anyone ever leave me? Why would they ever even look another direction? That's the type of energy of this. Like, I feel like you need to understand that you deserve love, and I feel like deep down you do know that you do, but like you've got this self-talk that makes you feel you know, a little bit less than, and you're not less than. Then we have it's time for me to heal now. So this is obviously just confirming that maybe your person kind of, you know, they recognize that there is some sort of healing that's necessary, so that they can actually show up emotionally. With you and I, we're too young. Obviously for some people this could be literal, but for others it's kind of speaking of, like, you know, emotional immaturity or poor timing, or just childishness, you know. And they could just feel like I don't know, circumstances or like the readiness of actually going ahead, like the timing wasn't right type of thing, and it prevented the relationship from actually reaching its full potential. And then I wish I could take back my words is, you know, a message of regret, I guess. It's kind of about reflecting on conversations or arguments or things that maybe they said in anger, and now they wish then that they never said that, or that, you know, that they could take it back in some way. And it kind of, you know, aligns with this Five of Swords here. So it's maybe a desire to move beyond whatever the conflict is, and bring peace to the relationship. And then obviously with the my life is not as together as it seems, it's maybe, you know, maybe they put on a front for people, for you, that they want people to think that they're, you know, the best thing since sliced bread, but you know, they're hiding a lot in their life that they feel like they're also not worthy, you know. So that is what I have for you, Aries. I hope you found a message that helped, and I will see you guys again soon. Take care.